Hi and welcome to my Facebook Live today. My name is Michelle Jutrissa and I'm a Stampin' Up independent demonstrator in New South Wales, Australia. And happy New Year's Eve. So today is the last day of 2021 and isn't that wonderful? Tomorrow we start a new year and hopefully things can be on the up and up there. If you haven't been on my or see my Facebook Lives before, please say hello and let me know where you're from. And if you do want to find out any more details about me, you can search my blog and you will find a link to that above in my description. And also too, you'll find a link to my shop where you can purchase all the products that we're using today. So today we're going to be looking at a product which is called the Artfully Composed. I'm sorry, I was checking my notes down here. Now this will be coming up in our new mini catalogue, which starts on the 4th of January. So we still have a couple of more days before you can actually view that in our shop or in our catalogues, if you ever see our catalogues live. So just be aware that some of the products we're using today aren't quite available now. So this is our new mini catalogue, as I said, which will be available. Oh, that's the wrong catalogue. Let me swap that out. That is our old catalogue, which actually finishes in a couple of days' time. Here is our new catalogue. So this one starts on the 4th of January. And I can't show you inside it. I can tell you this though, there are some beautiful products in here, and it runs until June later on in 2022. So there's a lot of time to have a look at these catalogues and choose things from it. And I will be showing products from both this catalogue and the annual catalogue going into next year, which starts tomorrow. And also please check me out on my YouTube channel if you do miss any of my lives, or sometimes I do a few videos which I don't actually put up on my Facebook page that will be going straight to my YouTube channel. Please pop on there and subscribe, and once I hit that 1,000 subscribers, then I can start doing YouTube lives. So would love it if you could help me out by doing that. So we have our mini catalogue, and we also have our celebration catalogue, and the celebration catalogue goes from the 4th of January through to the 28th of January. So what is celebration? Celebration is one of our major promotions. We hold this twice a year, and when you spend $90 or $180, so anything, $90 you can keep spending if you like, that's up to you, but once you hit that threshold of $90, then you can choose a product for free from the celebration catalogue. So there's two different types of products. There's what we call a 1 and a 2. The 1 is when you spend $90, then when you go up to $180, then there is bigger products that you can purchase. For example, I know there's one in there at the moment which is a designer series paper plus the stamp set that goes with it, so you can get that for $180. So it is a really good time of the year to be looking at our celebration. We also have joining specials as well. I think if you join during the celebration period, you get 2 stamp sets of your choice for free. So that's really a great start for anyone wanting to get into card making. So let me move this because I can't actually show you anything in there, and let's get started on what we're going to be looking at today, which is one of the products from that annual catalogue, or from that mini catalogue. So we're going to be looking at a product which is called the Artfully Composed. Now with Artfully Composed, I am part of a designer team, and later in January we will be holding a stamp camp, and our theme will be using this suite. So the dates for that is from the 29th to the 30th of January. We have 12 demos in our group from all around the world, and we'll all be doing a PDF for you, which will have videos that go with it. So there'll be 12 PDFs, and there will also be 12 Facebook Lives. So it is a really great fun. It goes for about, because we're all around the world, we do run it. It runs sort of almost continuously for almost 24 hours. So you join a Facebook group, you can stay in that group for as long as you want. So you don't have to stay up through midnight watching some of us doing our lives. You can come back to it the next day and watch them again, because once you're in that Facebook group, that group stays open for quite a while. And I know people who have done our stamp camps before have really enjoyed it. So there will be more details coming out once we hit the 4th of January. I can tell you a bit more about it, and watch out for my Facebook Lives about it. Watch out for my messages on my blog, and also to it's just gone straight out of my head, but there is more details telling you how you can become involved, because you do need to purchase the products through your demonstrator or that is in this group. So I will get back to you. My newsletter, that's the other place that I will have details about this. It is open to both demonstrators and to customers. So if you're interested and you're here in Australia, let me know, and you can come along and participate in our stamp camp. So we're going to have a little bit of a look at Artfully Layered. Now, just to show you some of the products in this suite, I have cut these down a little bit just to make it a lot easier. But as you can see, there's this fantastic stamp set. Along with that, you've got all your dies. Now, I just put my dies now inside my stamp set to keep them all together. And I've just got a little sample here of what these dies here do. So you've got one here, a little hash on it, and then a bigger hash, like a hashtag type thing, and it just cuts through your cardstock to leave a texture on your cardstock. So I'm hoping you can see that, but I haven't actually used them yet, but I am looking forward to getting and using those fairly soon. Also with this suite, you have your range of designer series paper, and I've just spent the last few days playing with this paper, and it's been a huge amount of fun. So you have all these beautiful designs. Now in our packs, it comes with 12 pieces of cardstock, 2 in each design. So you have these 6 designs. And then when you flip these over, the reverse are those that correspond with those designs. They also in this suite have brought out some vellum. Now these vellum is printed, so you have this one here which has got like a map on it, so it's your vellum printed in white. This one here is your vellum printed with a script on it, and now you don't need to use these just with this suite. You can use them with our other products as well. Got this one here which is like a newspaper type print, so that's also in your white, and then they've also done them in your black as well. So that's what comes in the suite, along with this beautiful ribbon here. And this ribbon here, you can easily unravel it, and you're left with this lovely chenille type thread that you can use on your cards. And also within this suite are these lovely faux sea glass shapes. So and they're in 3 colors. So you've got like your white, I think this one here is in your mint macaron and your pear pizzazz. So yeah, they're beautiful, and they're just, you know, all different shapes. So a lot of fun to play with those as well. So they're the products that come within this suite when you purchase this suite, and I'm just going to pop them to one side for the moment. Now this suite, these are the colors that coordinate with the suite. We're not going to be using all these colors today. Whoops. So you've got Old Olive, papaya. I always call that wrong. So it's Old Olive, pale papaya, Evening Evergreen, Calypso Coral, Pear Pizzazz, and Mint Macaron. There are other colours that you could use with it, because I kept the last couple of days kept swapping out my Mint Macaron for Pool Party, and that looks quite good with it as well. So we're going to be using some of those colours today. And this is the card we're going to be creating. Now, I have created this card by creating this background myself rather than using the designer series paper. But I am going to show you something else that you can, another way you can do this technique with using a designer series paper as well. So I'll show you that towards the end. So let's get started in making this card. So I've got all my products here. So let me just grab these out. Just need to take that out, sorry. So you need a piece of your Calypso Coral, and I've cut this piece at 10.5 by 29.9 centimeters in width, and I've scored it at 14.9. Now I will put all these measurements and everything into my blog post over the next couple of days, so you can go back to watch it then as well and get all the measurements. You also need a piece of Mint Macaron. Now I'm just noticing my tablet here is frozen, so I'm hoping you guys haven't frozen. We've sort of noticed recently that with holidays and everything, everybody is on the internet, so I'm hoping this will catch up. If someone can just give me thumbs up if they're watching and let me know. Look, it looks like it's back together again. That's great. And we're going to be using 2 pieces of Whisper White. Now I didn't give you the measurements of the Mint Macaron. The Mint Macaron is 14.4 by 10 centimeters. Then I have 2 pieces of basic white. One piece I've cut 1/4 of a sheet. This is the piece I'm going to be working for my card front, and I will eventually cut this down to 14.1 by 9.7. And this piece here is for the inside of my card, for my card insert, and that is also cut at 10 by 14.4. So we're just going to pop those pieces to one side for the moment, and all we're going to be working on is our basic white. Now this technique I did see from Ruth at Artful Stamping, and she did this technique a couple of probably about a month and a half ago, and I really liked it, so I thought I'd give this a go. So the colours we're going to be using for this technique is going to be your Mint Macaron. We're going to be using the Pale Papaya. We're going to use the Pear Pizzazz and the Calypso Coral. So they're the colours that we're going to be using to create this background. Now this is a swiping technique, and what I recommend to do is start with your light colours first and then work up from there to your darker colours. So we're going to start with the Pale Papaya and the Mint Macaron. So all you need to do, it's a very, very easy technique. Let me just move that out of the road so I don't get anything on there. And we're just going to swipe our cardstock. So we're just going to open up our stamp pad, making sure that our lid is locked into place. Okay. And I'm going to work from this edge here. So you'll see with your stamp pad, you've got like a section down here, which is probably about not quite a centimetre away from your ink pad, and then you have one which is quite close to your edge. So we're going to be working with this edge, and we're going to be holding our stamp pad at an angle. We're not going to be putting it flat down, we want to hold it at an angle. And we're just going to take this and we're going to swipe it across. Now that's fine if you only get a bit of colour in that one spot, because we are going to eventually fill all this in. So we're just going to keep turning this around and swiping it and swiping it again, and you can go back, and you can, more pressure you put on it, the more colors you're going to get, or the denser the color you're going to get. So now I'm going to swap this one out for for mint macaron. Again, just make sure that's locked in place, and we're going to start covering some of these white areas, and you can overlap some of these other areas. The more pressure you put down on your ink pad, the more colour you're going to get. So we're just layering your colours on. You can always come back and add a bit more colour if you don't think you've got enough once we get to the end. So now I've got my pear pizzazz, and I'm going to do the same. And it's very, very simple to do this. Now I just want to add a bit more in there. Okay, so you can just keep adding colours until you're happy with what you get. Now it doesn't matter if you leave a little bit of white space. A little bit of white space can be good. And now I've got my Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to add a lighter touch just to some of these places here. And I'm quite happy with that. If anything, I think I've got too much, like they're too block here, but I am going to cut this down a little bit. And it's amazing once you start cutting things down, how it's going to change the look. So we're just going to keep playing. I might just add a little bit more Pool Party to this. Not Pool Party, sorry, mint macaron. I just want to add, just to break up, I probably need to add some more ink. Just break up some of this heavier colour there. As you can see, that has just really changed that a little bit there. Okay, so that's our swiping technique, and that is just how simple it is. You know, choose 3 to 4 colours. I wouldn't probably go any more than 3 or 4 colours, because otherwise you could end up with, add too many colours, you could end up with like mud, a lot of brown sort of tonings. So that's fine. So now we're going to do a little bit of stamping to add a little bit more texture. So the stamp that I've chosen is this stamp here, which it's just a like a font. I can't even read the words. It's not really it's not a sentiment or anything like that, so there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just trying to find the right block. We'll use this block here. There is an up and down, but we are going to stamp this a little bit all over the place. And for this, I'm going to be using the Evening Evergreen, but I am going to stamp it off because I don't want it to be too predominant. With this card here, I actually used black. And again, I stamped it off because I just want it to add a bit of texture. I don't want it to be predominant. So we're going to ink up our stamp, and then ink off, and then just add it randomly on your card. You can turn it around and put it on the other direction. You don't need to go in the same direction each time. We just want to randomly add this all around. Work out where I think I need another one in there. Whoops, I didn't actually stamp that one off, and I'm going to put another one there, another one there. Again, I probably shouldn't have put those too close together, but I'm not going to let that bother me too much, because we are going to add another layer of colour on this, and we're going to be using the Old Olive because it's just a little bit stronger than your Pear Pizzazz, and I do want this to stand out. And we're going to take one of the leaf stamps here. So one of the big leaves, and we're just going to stamp this a couple of times. On our card front. Now I think this time I'm only going to get 3 of these on here, and I think last time I did this I got 4, but I've spaced it out a little bit. What you can do is you can add a few little pieces. Now this is a lot bigger than what we need. We still need to cut it down, so I'm just adding just a few, not too many, but just a little bit like that. Okay, so that's just adding some extra texture onto our card. Now I'm just going to grab my chamois and clean my stamps down. Just making sure they're nice and clean. So now we need to trim this down. Okay, so let me just check this tablet. Oh, there's a few people watching. Hi, how are you? Please say hello and let me know where you're from. Hi Sharon, how are you? Okay, so now we're going to trim this down. We need to trim it down for our card front. Now our mat is cut at 10 by 14.4. And we're going to pop this on top of our mat, so we need it a little bit smaller, and I like to work my next size down about 3 millimeters smaller. So we're going to cut this at 9.7 by 14.1. So I'm just going to have a quick look and work out, if I cut that at 9.7, which is about there, I'm going to be losing a bit of that. That looks okay to me, so I'm going to remove that piece, and then 14.1. So it's always good to have a little bit of a look at your design and where it's going to cut, and just to make sure that you're happy with those areas being removed, because once it's off, it's gone. Okay, so there's our card front all trimmed down. Now I have been finding my paper trimmer at the moment is giving me an edge along the bottom, so I'd like to take my bone folder and just run it along the edge of my cardstock. I've just put in a new blade, so it could have something to do with the blades, but it's just, usually it curves the edges down, but for some reason it's curving my edges upwards. So I'm just running that across just to make sure that I've got no sort of edges turning up. So I'm happy with that now. So let's bring in our other layers. So pop that one over to there. So we're going to adhere, and I'm going to do the same thing I think with this piece. Just let me, just going to run my bone folder around those edges just to flatten them out a little bit. I have cleaned the groove in the track in my trimmer, so I really don't know. I might just change my blades and see if that makes a difference. I only just did that a couple of days ago. Now I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue here and attach that onto there. Okay, so that's attached onto my mint macaron mat, and then we're just going to adhere that also onto the front of our card. So work out which way you want, up or down. Now I have got 2 of my leaves going in the same direction. Probably should have turned it around so I had a little bit going a bit more in an opposite direction, but that's okay because we are going to put something over the top. So again, just have a look at your design that you've stamped and work out which way you want up and which way you want down. And I'm quite happy with that. And as you can see too, when I trimmed this, I've actually removed I had those two dark areas here, and I've removed this one, and I put a bit of Pool Party, not Pool Party, keep saying Pool Party, because the other card I've made, I used Pool Party. I picked up Pool Party by mistake and made it instead of Mint Macaron. But I swiped the Mint Macaron across here, which took away a little bit of that orangeness out of this panel here, which I think balanced it quite well. So I'm quite happy with the way that that's now all looking. And then we can take our card insert and add this. Now, if you have got, when you trim your cardstock, you could use a bit of that that you've trimmed away to decorate the bottom of your card. And I might just pull mine out and have a quick look. I just popped it here. And just see what, now there may have been another little piece in here. That piece. That bit wouldn't be too bad. Could also do both of those and just trim it. I think we might even do that. So I'm going to use this piece here because this piece is 10 centimeters wide. I'm going to use that as my template and cut that off. Usually this piece at the bottom I like to have around about 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters, but I'm going to use two pieces, and I'm not going to put them together, but I'm going to put a gap between them just to make it look like it was meant to go that way rather than an afterthought. By using your multi-purpose glue, you do have a couple of seconds to move things around, so that's not too bad. Okay, so let's decorate the front of our card. So I'm going to pop my stamp set there out of the road. Now I have done a little bit of this already. What I have done here is I've taken a piece of basic white and I stamped another leaf, and I've stamped that in the Pear Pizzazz. Okay, so this one here we stamped in the Old Olive, but this one I stamped in the Pear Pizzazz, and I'm just looking at that, and that's a bit dirty, so I think we might redo that again. So let me grab that Pear Pizzazz. If you make a mistake, anything like that, you can always just turn it over and stamp on the other side. So somewhere yesterday I got my grubby little fingers in the wrong spot, I think, by the looks of it. So let's just re-stamp that again. Lovely. And we're going to use the dies and cut that out. So you have this die here which will cut that shape out nicely for us. So let me bring in my Cut and Emboss Mini. And my plates. So we need plate 1 and our 2 plate 2s. Pop that in there. Line that all up. So we're just making a sandwich. We're going to line up our die on top, and it hugs that beautifully. We're going to put another plate 2 on top of that. And then we're going to wind this through. Now, that just doesn't want to grab at the moment, so what I'm going to have to do, so I'm just going to take this out, very gently pick up that one and just move it forward a little bit, the top plate, just so then the machine can grab onto that and then start winding through. Okay. Let's take this apart. My die did move a little bit, but that's okay. I'm not overly worried about that. Pop that die there. So we're left with our leaf. Now we're going to do with this card here, what I've done is I've embossed one of the sentiments. So I've got a scrap piece here of my Calypso coral. And we need embossing powder. So I've got my white embossing powder there and my piece of scrap paper. And we're going to use the sentiment Happiest Birthday Wishes, which is that one. Grab my H block. And we also need our Versamark ink. Now Versamark ink is a little bit like a glue. It holds onto the embossing powder. It also can be used as a watermark type ink. So you can stamp on an image and just let the ink dry and just keep it as that. I'll show you what I mean in a minute because I'm going to stamp this down on here. And it just leaves like a slight gloss on your cardstock, so you can just let that dry just like that and just keep it like that if you want to do a background image on your card base or something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle some embossing powder on there. I'm going to be fairly generous in that. Tap it off, give it a light flick on the back. Now sometimes you get a little bit of excess powder that's stuck in places you don't want it, so we're just going to get a fine paintbrush and just brush some of that away. And this is where the magic is going to happen. So let me just get rid of this ink pad and the embossing powder so we don't melt everything. Bring that back in, and we're going to grab the heat gun. Now this is going to become a little bit loud. So I'm just going to heat this heat gun up a little bit, and then we're going to watch the magic happen. So at the moment, with the powder sitting on top of the Versamark, it is a matte, and you'll know that by heating it and it's done, it's set, it actually changes colour to a bright white. So let's have a go and see what happens. You don't want to hold it in one spot for too long because it can burn your paper. And now it's starting to change. So once it's heating up, it's changing to a nice bright white. So when you're happy with that, just switch off the heat gun. Now, as I said before, all these products that I'm using today, you can purchase through my Stampin' Up store. And what we're going to do now is we're going to fussy cut this. But first off, I'm going to cut a couple of straight lines. So unfortunately we don't sell this anymore, but this is just a little guillotine that Stampin' Up had a few years ago. And I'm just going to use this just to cut a straight line underneath my birthday wishes. And we're going to fussy cut the rest of this. Now you can do, if you want to, if you're not really sure on your cutting, you can grab a pencil, and I do this sometimes, and I just draw just a light pencil line around where I want to cut. And it just acts as a guide. I try not to do it too close to my wording because then I cut on the inside of that pencil line, but you can also get a soft rubber and just rub that out. And that just gives me a little bit of a guide if I'm just feeling like I just need a little bit of help in cutting this. Now just remove any of that excess we don't need. And I'm just going to cut a straight line there. Now I guess I am going to recut this because it just, to me, it's a little bit off on an angle. Now when you're cutting, fussy cutting, you want to keep your scissors still, and you're only going to move your left hand and move that cardstock around. I'll probably have cut a little bit too far down there, but that's okay. It's not going to be really noticed. And you can come back a little bit if you want to trim it a little bit closer. I just want to get rid of that excess there. And just try to keep your movement of the cardstock just as smooth as you can. And that'll give you some nice smooth curves. So if you do end up with a few little jagged curves, as I said, you can go back and trim them off, which I will generally do. I'm just following that pencil line that I've made and curving that back off to that straight line. So I just want to get rid of that little sharp point there on the bottom of my H. Otherwise, I am quite happy, I think, with that. I might just make that just a little bit closer. And I can see a little bit of a pencil mark, so I'm just going to grab my soft rubber and just remove that just in that corner. Okay, so there you go. That's how easy and simple it is to fussy cut your sentiment. So let's grab our card. So we've got our card, we've got our leaf, we've got our sentiment, and what I also have here is a strip of gold. Now this is like a textured gold, and I got this from this is the Golden Rose Gold Metallic Specialty Paper. So what I've just done is I've just cut a very fine slither using the guillotine. You can use your paper trimmer to do it. It's only about 2 to 3 mils in width, and I've just cut that little piece off that piece there to add on here. And I've also got some pale papaya in my ribbon as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take this ribbon, fold it in half because I want this in 2 pieces, and I'm just going to cut it at an angle on one side, make that angle a little bit sharper that way. I'm going to cut the other side. So this piece here I'm going to cut at an angle as well. I hope you can see that. A little bit of a, and this one, cut that at an angle as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my seal, and I'm just going to, now this is all going to get hidden underneath that leaf, but I want my sentiment to be around about here. My leaf is going to go on top, so I'm just going to pop a little bit of seal there, and I'm going to pop that one at an angle on top. Put a bit more seal again on there. So I'm going to turn that over. I like to have that going in the other direction. And I probably could have cut my ribbon a little bit longer. So I'm just going to just position that a bit differently. Don't want to have too much of an angle. And I'm going to put another piece of seal on top of that. And then I'm just going to angle that over the top. Again, just cut off excess at an angle. I'm going to pop a bit of seal, and I'm actually using Seal Plus, I've just realised. That's okay, that'll make sure that is well and truly secured. And that is going to go on there. And I'm going to take all of that off because I am actually cut my ribbon way too short. So bear with me 1 second. I'm not happy with that. Let me grab some more ribbon. This is what happens when you don't measure anything. So let's remove all of this. I'm not worrying about that too much because, as I said, it is going to get covered up. But I will need to cut some more of that gold trim. So let's try this again. I'm going to pop a piece on here. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to go now each of these pieces I'm cutting at around about, let's have a look, about 10 centimeters in length. Doesn't matter if one is slightly longer than the other. Whoops, we don't want that sticking, so need to get this so we can cut this again. And I just want to cut just a slither. Put a little bit more of that on top. Okay, that's going on top there, and then our leaf I want slightly angled up like that. Now I'm just going to cut these, just trim them back down to where I want them to be. And I might just trim this one just down just a little bit. That's better. That looks much better. Okay. So now, let's just pop that away. So we're finished with that one. And we're going to grab some mini dimensionals and pop onto the back of this. Now don't be afraid to cut these mini ones down in half if you need to on some of these smaller pieces here, because sometimes you do need to do that. And I'm just going to pop one more. I want to make sure this stays on well. Excuse me. Peel the backings off. Oh, golly. And we're going to grab our happy birthday and just place that right across there like that. So just let me grab a drink, sorry. Obviously I'm talking too much, I get a little bit dry in the throat. Okay, so there's our card, and that's the inside of our card there. So, sorry, I just had to keep checking a little bit. Hi Lisa, from Gippsland. I've got family from Gippsland. What part of Gippsland are you from, Lisa? Now, the other thing that I shared with this card was, told you about this card, was there's another way you can do a card very much similar but using the designer series paper. Now, one of the designer series papers that come in this pack is this one here. It's got a lot of white area in it. So you've got your bird of paradise flower, you've got the same leaf that we've used there, you've got a few other leaves as well, but there's a lot of white. You couldn't do this technique with a designer series paper that had less white to it. Let me just grab those sheets that I had so I can show you what I mean. Say for example this one here, it is not a huge amount of white in there. I don't think would work as well with this this particular technique, though you might be able to use that one, and you could definitely use that one, but I just didn't think there was enough. Like, the design is very big, so, and this one here, there's just not enough white, too much dark area in it. So what you can do with this one is use the same swipe technique to get this effect, but this is what your card would look out like doing this. So this is the same technique in creating, but this one here I created my card by making my own background, but starting with my basic white cardstock. With this one, same style of card and everything, but I took this piece of designer series paper and swiped over the top, doing the same swiping technique, trimmed it and everything exactly the same, and it looks just as good. So that's just another way of using up your designer series paper. So when you purchase the suite, which comes with everything like I've showed you, you know, it's just another way of getting a little bit more out of it as well. So I hope you will give that a try. I hope you've enjoyed this card. As I said before, we've got the Artfully Composed Stamp Camp that I'm involved in happening later in the January. So I will be putting details and sending out emails about that in January. If you haven't already joined my email list, please jump on to my blog, which is butterfliesandbows.com, and you'll see a link there to sign up for my email. And I will be sending out emails to participate in this with the cost and everything. The one thing with the cost is you do have to purchase the suite, and you need to purchase that suite through me. So if you are already a demonstrator, and you want to participate, take part in the stamp camp, then you do need to purchase this suite through me, or let's say if you live here in Australia. If you've already purchased it and you still want to, you have to spend the same value of the suite through me as well. So watch out for all the information on it. If you're interested in attending, I will be posting that up fairly soon, or by the 4th of January. I hope you've enjoyed this card. Now let me just flip my camera over again so I can say goodbye to you properly. It won't be one moment. There I am. Yeah, so if you're interested in taking part in that, please let me know. You can send me a message and I'll get back to you. If you're interested in purchasing any of the products, you can do through my shop that we've used, but as I said, the products I've used today won't be available until the 4th of January. If you don't have a catalogue and you would like a copy of the catalogue and you live here in Australia, contact me. I do have catalogues here available. I can send one out to you. That is the mini catalogue and the celebration catalogue. And just remember that the celebration is really great. You spend $90, choose a product for free. Spend $180 and you can get 2 products or choose one of the bigger bundles that they have in the celebration catalogue. So I hope you all have a lovely day. Enjoy tonight. I don't know what everybody else would be doing, but I probably will be in bed fast asleep when we become 2022. I hope you all have a lovely new year, and I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas as well with family and friends. So take care, and we'll see you next Friday when we do another Facebook Live, and I'll catch up with you then. Take care. Bye for now.